I think that what you mentioned about tuning into the needs of people is so powerful because everything you laid out about like the pattern of what Airbnb faced and then the response to that, I think there's a lot of other organizations who made distinctly different choices or different responses to that same adversity. And so I guess can you talk a little about like what was that process like to tune into the needs of people?
Well, all kudos go to our CEO Brian, really recognizing that the company was in a very difficult place because of the pandemic, and at the same time, people were in pain because of solitude or others around them getting sick, and it's just ingrained in the Airbnb culture to be a host. That is literally one of our most important core values. Be a host. You got to be a host. And the way to be a host is to be in tune with your people in your organization and their needs. You can't be a good host unless you're listening. So it sounds maybe a little obvious, but we actually asked. We rolled out a massive survey on what the needs of people were. And this was, relatively early on in the pandemic, but a series of questions for us to really listen and learn and understand. And we synthesized all of that and then used that information, right? This remote work study to then, in some cases, not institute hard come back to work policies and figure out what would make being remote, being virtual more effective, more productive. What are your needs? And those surveys led to action, which was beautiful to see. Again, this feedback loop of you said, therefore we did. And that's how we started doing things like company wide days off for everyone, take a wellness day. And then also giving people more tools. What are programs that we can do to support people where they are? And then mainly signaling to the rest of the company what everyone is yearning for. If I were to super summarize that survey in that process, it was about connection, and it was about flexibility, and it was about belonging. And that was what people were yearning for, that connection. And it's so acutely missing at Airbnb because of the amazing, vibrant culture we have. Like I said earlier, Patrick, our offices were constructed with the eye for
Mhm.
design and making it feel like your home.
Oh my
Bring
gosh,
your
yeah.
dog to work. Bring your
We
dog to work. Feel at home.
One of our last, in-person ELC events was at Airbnb, and we were talking about, remote hubs, ironically enough, at the time, it was like 2019 or so, and you walk in and you feel, like, that sense of vibrance and connection and that just the way that 'cause it like, there's, like, the greenscape, anyway, I've been in there once and
Well,
it was
well,
it was beautiful.
every single conference room is designed for one of our Airbnb listings around the world. And employees get to volunteer to decorate those rooms. So when you walk into our RV or you walk into, Bali, you literally feel like you're transported to those places in these conference rooms. So when you miss that, it lets you realize that something has to replace that feeling of connection, belonging, and that community vibe. And that's what the survey told us. People are missing that sense of community. People are missing flexibility. People are missing that just warmth and acknowledgement. So that was really it. Ask people what do they need, and then deliver what they need, and don't rush. Right? Again, we're still all remote. And we've seen a lot of companies have return to work policies and maybe they've undone them or they haven't been well received by employees. And that's led to bigger attrition. But it's really about being in tune and listening and learning and then delivering on what those things are going to look like for the people.